I'm back. So a few months ago, I made the fantastic mistake of reviewing a really bad Finding Nemo ripoff called The Reef. To my surprise, a lot of you had actually seen The Reef before, and if you had, I'm sorry for making you remember that. And it wasn't soon after releasing that video that I started to get flooded with comments from people telling me that not only does The Reef have a sequel, but that it's also batshit insane. The Reef 2 is the sort of movie you vaguely remember watching as a child, and then you get to adulthood and you can't remember if it was real or not. And you could try ask other people if they remember a movie about a group of fish putting on a musical theater show to scare away genetically mutated sharks, but it's not the easiest way to make friends. This entire movie feels like it was written by a 12-year-old boy who just discovered his mother's Adderall, and it's so incredible, I think we just dive right in. Now, I knew we were in for a treat here when the entire opening sequence feels like it came straight out of an underwater Saw movie.
Preparing to inject the serum.
That's actually terrifying. I like how the whole scene even had that 2000s green tint to it, just to really sell it home. So it turns out the villain from the last film, Troy, was never actually killed when he was abducted by humans. Instead, he's been held in a 14-foot long cage while being injected with experimental steroids. Yeah, the comic rebound might have overshot this one just a little bit. We might have swung too far back the other way. The scene carries on, and then we're introduced to our deuteragonist, which is the second most important character in a film for those of you out there who don't have a communications degree. A dogfish named Ronnie who stumbles across Troy when out scavenging for food. The two get talking, and then Ronnie pulls a lockpick out of a satchel in front of a guy who's in a cage because Ronnie is a little bit of a dick. So Troy convinces Ronnie to free him, and then Troy, whose steroids have really kicked in this 2-minute scene, he doubles in size and then breaks out of his cage. Couldn't he have just done that from the beginning? Did he really need the lock to be picked? Oh, and then during his escape, Troy hits us with possibly the hardest line scene since the writing staff's bathroom break.
Time to get my revenge on that little orange guppy. Time to return to the Reef.
Chills. I mean, chills. Then we're introduced to the actual protagonist, Pi, who's now living happily in the Reef with his girlfriend Cordelia and his son, Pi Jr. They couldn't come up with any other name for the son. I told you this movie was written by a 12-year-old. And they make it clear pretty quickly that the family dynamics are really good here, because Pi and Pi Jr. partake of some classic kids movie father-son roughhousing. They're chasing, head-scratching, he's shooting his son with ancient sea powers. It's only good vibes here. And just for nostalgia purposes, they go through this callback tour of all the unforgettable ensemble from our first movie. We've got Aunt Pearl, we got Dylan, there's the French crab, there's this guy. All the meanwhile, Troy's been collecting a group of cronies, and now he's on the way to terrorize the Reef. And I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to say that this film looks so much better than the first one. The fish look better, the Reef looks more alive. There's not a hint of coral bleaching in this Reef. So the shark gang rocks up, but there's just a little problem. It's the lowest tide of the year, and Troy can't get past these rocks to enter the Reef. So why'd you show up? Troy actually knows he can't enter the Reef, he says it.
But in 4 days, the water will rise high enough for us to swim right over the reef wall.
Brother, why would you tell them that? Did you learn nothing from the first movie? Remember when you gave them a month of preparation and they almost killed you? Did you not learn anything from that? But before we continue our dive into the Reef, just a quick message from the sponsor of today's video, Doodoo. Doodoo is an all-in-one management software that provides entrepreneurs access to a range of applications that makes it easier to manage their day-to-day business. Doodoo's e-commerce application allows you to launch your own e-commerce website in no time. Just enter key information about your business, and after a few simple steps, the e-commerce app will generate your own sleek website template based on the information you provide. The e-commerce application also allows you to customize to your heart's content. Using a simple drag and drop system, you can insert templates that have been carefully crafted by professional web designers to fit your business style and need. And when it comes to the time to add in your own products, Doodoo couldn't have made it easier. Just type in the name and price and your product page will be made for you. Simple, accessible, and no coding needed. You can even use Doodoo's new SEO optimizer to add in descriptions, meta titles, and suggested keywords with just the click of a button, saving you time and letting you focus on customizing the product page layout with images, custom fonts, and pre-designed content blocks. When your website is all ready to run, just add in shipping details, payment providers, and personal information, and then you're well on your way to make your first sale. The best part is Doodoo allows you to launch your e-commerce website for free with unlimited hosting and support. So if this interests you, make sure to check out Doodoo using the link in the description below to start your e-commerce journey. So everyone in the Reef is freaking out, and Narissa comes in to make things worse.
None of us will be safe.
Pie's kind of the leader of the Reef, so he realizes, hey, I gotta be the one to take on Troy again. And then Narissa comes over to offer possibly the worst advice.
Confidence is like a pirate's grog. Too much of it will make you lose your balance.
Okay, you got anything better there, Pops?
What the Reef needs is a leader who can teach the fish how they can defend the Reef together.
But look at them. They're not shark fighting material.
Neither were you before I trained you.
And you would assume he's telling Pie to train them to fight, right? Like any reasonable person could watch this and read between the lines and be like, oh, you want Pie to train them like you trained him, right? No. You idiot. That's not what he means. Narissa likes to leave things ambiguous so that he has a way out. So Pie conscripts the town and they get into their first training session. There's actually a nice callback here where Pie teaches them to breach just like he learned, but everyone sucks. They're a danger to themselves and those around them. During the scene, the camera pushes in to reveal that there's this badass looking snake watching the training. And then they show that the snake was actually hired by Troy to commit espionage. And I bring this up because it leads into a very nice key change that I think happened between this and the last movie. Troy is an actual fucking villain. Not only does he have his own KGB, which he eats, by the way, he eats the snake. He also has a gang of at least 7 equally big and terrifying sharks that are willing to follow his every order because Ronnie gives them massages.
Yes, Mr. Troy?
Yeah, he's graduated from like 80s teen film villain to fucking Bane. So Troy learns that the Reef is preparing to fight back and needs to put a stop to it.
I want you to sneak into the Reef and stop Pie from training the fish.
Ronnie realizes to get into the Reef, he'll need a disguise because the Reef holds prejudice. And then Ronnie puts on what may be the worst disguise seen in cinema history.
Oh, this'll work. How do I look?
Awful. You look like a shark. He didn't even change anything that matters. Like, you still have the shark fin, which I would say is a top 3 indicator of a shark. So Troy pretends to hunt Ronnie. Ronnie slips past the rocks and hides in the Reef for safety. And this is where we get Pie and Troy's first big standoff.
Look who's finally joining the party.
Troy, you're still just a big bully whose bark is bigger than his bite.
You fucking got him, bro. He's not gonna tear you limb from limb. Also, the Reef just accepts Ronnie in.
I thought I was shark fighter. No worries. You are safe with us, handsome.
I just want to convince myself that they know he's a shark. They just don't really give a shit. I mean, with a smile like that, how can you say no to him? Realizing, oh shit, Troy's the size of a tanker boat now, Pie begins to teach everyone in the ways of sea power. You know, the ancient mystical power that lets you control the ocean. He decided to start with that. So they all end up just almost killing themselves in the most cartoonish way possible. I'll give them credit. At least they actually learned how to make sea bubbles. This took Pie a month to learn in the first movie. I'm starting to think Narissa might just be a bad teacher. So everyone's feeling hurt, probably pretty embarrassed as well. And then Pie comes along just looking to make things worse and starts ripping into his friends.
Happen back there can never happen again. You need to focus or you'll kill yourselves before the sharks do.
I would cry. You wouldn't see me on the Reef after this. Everyone in the Reef complains that the training is just too hard.
We're trying, dude, but it's hard.
Yeah, man. We're training to fight genetically engineered sharks here. it might be kind of hard. I'm sorry, I'm getting so annoyed the glasses are coming back on. Like, sorry about the tough love, guys, but a shark is coming here to eat you. So Ronnie watches all of this play out and he sees the crack in the armor. It's time to spread misinformation.
Maybe they just need to sing a different song. Something a little more flashy.
How do they not see that he's a shark? Like, you can see the fins. He even makes a shark pun.
I mean, you know Shakira.
He's spelling it out for them. So Ronnie starts sweet talking the town a bit, you know, gives them a little bit of sugar to butter them up.
All of you have a special skill. And I bet with just a little bit of practice, you'd all make one fine troupe of performers.
So Ronnie's grand idea to distract the Reef is to have them put on a show. But not just any show.
An underwater extravaganza. We'll have a ballet of seahorses, juggling clownfish, and roaring lionfish.
You know what they say, the best form of defense is a good bellow of show tunes. Ronnie's big idea being that if they put on a good show, then humans will show up and the sharks will be scared of the humans.
What's the one thing in the entire world that even sharks are afraid of? Humans.
This is somehow the dumbest yet smartest fake plan I think he could have come up with. Because they already had humans in the last film. In fact, the humans actually ended up saving Troy's life, but still everyone in the Reef just thinks it's a great idea. Apart from Pi, who's like, this is dumb. This is a dumb idea. But then everyone is just like, wow, do you have anything better? Like, he didn't just start training them 20 minutes ago? Yeah, everyone just switches to Ronnie's side anyway. Pi saved the town 6 months ago, by the way, and they've already abandoned him. After that, Ronnie heads back to tell Troy about his brilliant plan.
An underwater extravaganza? What? Is that some kind of joke?
Until Ronnie explains that actually, he's always 2 steps ahead.
The humans will never come?
That's exactly the point.
Oh.
Lure them into false security. You're a sick bastard, Ronnie. I actually only included this scene because this is when I started to notice a little, vibe developing between Ronnie and Troy.
You keep the fishies busy with your little show, so Pi doesn't get any new ideas, and I won't eat you. For now.
Excuse me? Sorry, can we hit the rewind button for a second here?
What?
Did he kiss him? I guess that explains why he grabbed Ronnie's waist so tight in the opening scene, but man, wow, I'm gonna keep my eye on this. So Ronnie starts the auditions, but the fish don't have any talents because they're fish. And then the way Ronnie is able to manipulate them feels like something that's straight out of a CIA agent's handbook.
What are you good at, my friend?
I make pretty good snot bubbles, but not as good as this dude.
You're good at recognizing talent in others. How would you like to be my executive assistant?
Really?
Ronnie's got this whole town wrapped around his little pinky finger, all while doing it with new veneers and a fresh Turkish hairline. The writers just used the auditions as an excuse to include pop culture references that children are just never going to understand, but I thought some of them were actually really funny.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a sponge.
I had to pause the movie. I laughed so hard when that came on. That is a weirdly good Marlon Brando impression. They also keep including this bit where a fashion designer couple is dancing to the Sex and the City theme song. I don't get it. And all while this is happening, Pi and his own henchmen have come up with their own brilliant idea on how to stop Troy.
I got it. We build a shark trap that will catapult Troy so far, he'll never come back.
They did. What, the plan is to build a giant catapult like the fucking Wile E. Coyote? I just don't know if Sun Tzu ever noted down giant shark catapult in the art of war, you know? So then they start gathering resources for this sharkapult, and they make a big deal out of this clam. You gotta remember the clam. Pi Jr. then rocks up because he wants to help his dad out, except his childhood DIY experiences go about as well as mine did, because he's just really annoying.
Don't touch that!
Yeah, see, this is why we can't have child labor anymore. Not because it's morally wrong, but because they get in the way. At some point, even Pi says to his son, like, You gotta pack it up, buddy.
Did I screw up?
Yes. Hey man, some of us just aren't cut out for DIY, okay? If his childhood experiences are anything like mine, then he'll find his calling on the theater. Okay, also for some reason the swordfish comes to help out, and then they just have this very oddly sensual scene. This is the only part he's in as well. He disappears after this. Back at the auditions, Pie's best friend Dylan is pretty upset about not being on the show, and he blames it on the entertainment industry's tired body standards.
You think there's any chance that I could be part of the show too?
Well,
I know. I'm too fat.
Which leads into the single worst joke they've made over both movies.
nah. You have, buoyancy.
Buoyancy. She's a famous singer.
Dude, fuck you. You don't even try. You know, like, you don't want to. You just piss me off. The next scene, we're at Narissa's pirate ship, where Pie is, I think, justifiably pretty upset that his family and friends walked away from him.
Cordelia is totally into it. I can't believe she's going along with Ronnie's so-called plan.
And the worst part is, Narissa only gives him cryptic advice.
Maybe he offered something you haven't.
What, more than 2 inches? Because a guppy fish is too... Because the most egregious part about this is the only reason Pie's in this situation is because Narissa just didn't give any guidance whatsoever and then just shrugs off any of the blame.
I suggested that you train them to be the best they can be, not to be you.
No, that's not what you said at all. You said...
What the reef needs is a leader who can teach the fish how they can defend the reef together.
Narissa, I love these guys, but look at them. They're not shark fighting material.
Neither were you before I trained you.
How else was he meant to take that? He did the exact same thing you did because that's how he was taught to do it. Of course, that's what he's going to think is the correct way. So at this point, the town's looking at 2 options to defend themselves: hosting a talent show or building a giant catapult. Unless there was some secret third option. Luckily, Narissa has one more trick up his sleeve, and it's possibly the hardest lore drop in the series.
The power of the sea will always be at your side, but it can take many forms. A soft current whispering courage into your heart, or a mighty sea dragon that devours entire islands.
There's fucking dragons. So as if the power of the sea wasn't mysterious enough, apparently you can reach a level of enlightenment that gives you the ability to like summon a dragon. And Pie's kind of like, why are you only bringing this up now?
A true leader knows that everybody can play an important part.
Well, maybe your part is to summon that mighty dragon. You ever think of that?
Many times.
Ominous. So all alone, Pie goes to build the military catapult by himself, but just can't reach the final clamp to set the trap. I told ya to remember the clamp. Just as it looks like Pie's about to end up as a comet in a Russian dashcam video, Pie Jr. shows up to the rescue, except he can't pick up the clamp because he's too small. Just a tiny little disappointment. Now, if only there was some sort of ancient sea power Pie Jr. could use.
You can do it! The power of the sea is inside of you.
That's it. That's all it took. One half-cooked motivational speech, and the villagers couldn't do this? I just don't think they loved the reef that much. Ronnie then overhears about the catapult.
And don't touch the red clamp, or the whole thing will go
Kaboom!
Red clamp. Kaboom.
And his plan to stop all of this is to hold an audition for the male lead of the show, but the audition is just a game of capture the flag.
And whoever brings me the clamp will play the male lead.
Guys, a shark is coming to eat you. Do they comprehend death? Of course, Dylan ends up being the one to capture the red clamp because everyone else got flung out by the catapult releasing. Dude, Amazon freaking wishes their data centers throughout ecosystems that quickly. Pie then finds his destroyed catapult and goes to confront Ronnie, but walks in on Dylan dancing with Cordelia. Dude, losing your girl and your catapult at the same time, that's That's a hard day in any man's life. So Pi interrupts the show to confront them about the missing clamp, and with no pressure whatsoever, the swordfish dogs in Dylan.
That's my clamp!
Dylan found it. Though actually, I would have made a much better lead.
That's not important here. I don't know if he needed to say that. That feels like it came from a place of pure jealousy. Pi has what I would call at this point a very valid crash out.
You and your ridiculous plan to get humans to come and protect us.
But then just takes it way too far, man.
Go back to wherever you came from. You're not even from the Reef.
Whoa, Pi, come on, dude, that is... Wow, man. Dude, he had a kid after 4 months. I should've known. Never look up to celebrities, man. First it's racist rants, next you're starring in a shitty right-wing Bluey ripoff. And like, all power to her, Cordelia turns her back on Pi. She full-on goes over to Ronnie's side. And you know what, Pi, at this point, I'd just leave, man. Like, I don't... There's other reefs out there.
I think you pushed him so hard that you pushed him away.
But he didn't. They had 1.5 training sessions. They did the water thing once before giving up. A 6-year-old just figured that out. The next scene, Ronnie and Troy have a meeting, but I'm only including it because I think this scene gives my Ronnie x Troy theory a little bit of legs. I just want you to watch this.
It's risky for us to be seen together.
Yeah, risky for you.
Nah, you can't fool me, man. I know what I'm seeing. Oh, and then Troy tells Ronnie that he needs his help to kidnap Cordelia.
You bring me Cordelia. This side of the wall at sunset.
So Ronnie's doing that now. At this point, Ronnie's plan of having a bunch of fish who have never stepped on stage try to perform a talent show, it starts to unravel. The leads can't dance. He's got fish dressing up as other fish. He's just trying to make them into something they're not. And it upsets Cordelia, and she starts to cry to Ronnie.
I danced like a hippo in high heels.
Oh, I've seen some very talented hippos in my day.
So Ronnie promises to help Cordelia out with a couple of private lessons at the edge of the reef, if you get my drift. He's going to help kidnap her. All the meanwhile, Pi goes back to the pirate ship to search for Narissa, who isn't home, and the mystical sand then just holographically projects Narissa's location in real time, and Pi doesn't question this. The sand shows Narissa swimming up and talking to this mysterious cave, and he's obviously talking to like the sea dragon or something to summon it, but I don't think sand has audio tracks. So to Pi, it just looks like Narissa swam up to the cave and then swam away, and the sand had to show him that. That night, Ronnie and Cordelia go out for their evening dance lessons, and of course it was only at the last second that Ronnie actually starts to feel remorse for his actions. Typical man. Not that he changes his mind or anything, because he still spins Cordelia out past the rocks where Troy's waiting for her.
Well, Sugar Fins, I think it's time we take our relationship to the next level. Abduction.
So at this point, Ronnie's like, okay, might have made the wrong choice there.
No. What have I done?
You trafficked someone, Ronnie. Feeling so bad about the betrayal, Ronnie goes to hand himself into Pi. No disguise or anything, and Pi's so confused, he somehow doesn't understand who this is.
And you are... Ha! I knew it!
No, you didn't. You didn't know who this guy was 2 seconds ago. The one thing you didn't question Ronnie about was if he was a shark or not. I'll be honest. I'm not even sure he needed the disguise. So Ronnie explains that he helped kidnap Cordelia, but then he developed empathy, and now he wants to help Pi save her. And that leads Pi to discover possibly the most undeserved life lesson possible.
This is my fault. If I had been a real leader and seen the fish for who they were, none of this would have ever happened.
Brother, you did nothing wrong. You were preparing them for a battle, Pi. This is war against steroid sharks. And then... Narissa, man, hits us with the most enlightened centrist take.
There have been mistakes made on both sides.
Ronnie trafficked Cordelia, dude. Like, Pi's biggest crime is that he expected too much out of people. Anyways, Ronnie's motives are revealed to the Reef's populace, and I'm starting to think they had a hunch from the beginning.
Ronnie is a shark? Oh, I can't believe it!
Yeah, they knew. But then my goat comes back like he always does with a banger of a motivational speech.
I thought you had to be warriors of the sea like me, but I was wrong. You're all good at something, so all of you can do some good. All right, everyone. Are you with me?
That's why he's the greatest to ever do it. Just when you think you're out, he pulls you back in. You ever see someone do a backflip over a speech before? No. Nuh-uh. That's why he's that guy. However, I still think he gives Ronnie a little bit too much credit for his role in all this.
Ronnie saw that you all have special skills, which he used to put together the show. Those same skills can be used to defend the reef.
Ronnie was lying. He lied. Ronnie just didn't want to be eaten. Like, was Dylan's special skill retrieving metal shop equipment? No. So everyone puts their special skills to use, and they build a bunch of booby traps around town that matches their talents. Oh, and then they just build Pie's catapult anyways. So I guess we're just going with Pie's original idea. So Ronnie and Pie have this grand idea to rescue Cordelia, where Ronnie distracts Troy by letting him know that a boat of humans have anchored nearby, and then Troy goes to seek his revenge, except Troy gets to the boat and then just changes his mind.
Shouldn't we find out what the humans are doing?
No time for that. It's high tide. And I want to get going to destroy the reef.
Then why'd we go out here? What did you get from that? And while Pie's rescuing Cordelia, he's spotted by a guard who does the one thing you wouldn't want your guard to do and accidentally frees Cordelia from her cage. Pie and Cordelia manage to escape, but they just leave Ronnie behind. Luckily, this is a kid's film, so nothing bad could really happen. Back at the reef, Pie and Cordelia warn the villagers of the oncoming slaughter because let's be real here. There's no way they got this entire plan working the night before Troy arrives. But when Troy does arrive, the reef's a ghost town. Eventually the fish come out and lure the sharks into the traps the villagers have set, some of them relating to the talent show and others just having nothing to do with it. Except all the traps they put out were just like clams and sea urchins. So the sharks just get back up again. So Troy begins his hunt of Pie, but let's be clear here for a second. Troy is a genetically mutated super weapon, and Pie is a guppy fish. So there wasn't really much of a competition here. So this is it for Pie, huh? This is it for the reef. Unless there was some sort of B story happening for the past 15 minutes that I completely didn't mention in my script. Oh, you're wondering what happened to Narissa in the cave? Oh, well, he was just going in, diving into lava pools to summon a freaking dragon, and the dragon just blasts the entire shark squad into space, apart from Troy, who I guess they missed, and just sneaks up behind Narissa and knocks him out. So now, without the dragon, Troy and Pie begin their final chase. Except, once again, Troy is a super weapon, so Pie gets caught right away. Dude, how did Pie not, like, explode? He should have been ripped in half. Luckily, Cordelia was around to drag Pie's body into the cave he was swimming towards. Troy then follows them into the cave and sees they've laid out a trap, like he even says it.
Hey, what is this? Another one of your clever traps, Pie?
Do you think Pie was like, he called me clever? Oh, and then Pie Jr. comes along and uses himself as bait like his dad did in the first film and saves the day by leading Troy into the last trap, the catapult. So how did they make this without opposable thumbs? This feels really advanced, like they're 10 years away from figuring out steam power. Eventually, Troy gets trapped on this conveyor belt and gets to slowly move towards the giant catapult so he can look death straight in the eyes and hear Pie make one last terrible joke.
That's what I call a showstopper.
And if you thought Troy getting his insides turned to goop from the amount of G-forces he probably just felt wasn't bad enough, he then lands on a boat, vomits up a still alive Ronnie, and then the humans just re-inject him with the same steroids.
Oh, please, not that again.
Again, karma just rebounds like a bitch. The humans didn't waste any time too. They see a shark, they see an opportunity. The fish of the reef celebrate their win, Ronnie comes to live with them, and then they hold the talent show to celebrate their freedom. And then Pie and his family live happily ever after. I don't know why they had that at the end. And that's it. That's how the Reef / Sharkbait series ended. Not with a bang, but with Drake Bell beatboxing. It was pretty evident that this one was leagues above the first movie. And funnily enough, after watching these probably 8 times each, I think I've actually grown a little attached to them. They're terrible. Like, they're terrible films, but they're charming. And apparently there's rumors of a third one coming out. So hell, if that ever happens, maybe we'll be reviewing a movie with Pi Jr. in it down the line. I mean, I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I know I've been away for like a month, and I know 2025 wasn't the most regular that I uploaded. I'll be honest with you, 2025 fucking sucked as a year for me. I went through some pretty rough stuff in the middle of the year, and it really affected the rest of my mental health. So content creation wasn't really at the forefront of my mind for most of this year, but I think I'm kind of on the other side of things now, and I'm really hoping to go hard in 2026. So, you know, let me know what you want to see. Do you like these movie reviews? Do you want to see more gaming content? Tell me what you like, and while you're there, down in the comment section, you know, why not subscribe? Why not subscribe? Maybe watch this this YouTube video that YouTube thinks you'll really like, because I know you'll enjoy it. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.